What's up, guys? Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. I just figured I get a lot of questions about how did my business come to be? How did I do media full time? And just, I figured for the sake of transparency and so you guys can get to know me a little better, I'd shoot an About Me segment. So, we're going to start way back in the beginning. I was born in June of 1994 in Seattle, Washington. Didn't stay there long. My family moved to Mountain Home, Idaho when I was 2 in 96. I stayed there until I was 8, and my dad retired from active duty Air Force. He did 30 years and ended up taking a job in Japan, so I was there from 8 to 10. And then after that we moved to England. I was there from 10 to 13, and then we moved back to Mountain Home, Idaho when I was 13. I did high school through there, and then somehow managed to graduate high school. I didn't really show up my last 2 years, but got my credits nonetheless, and decided to enlist in the United States Air Force and follow in not only my dad's footsteps, but just every man in my family just about has done some level of military service. So I followed tradition. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I knew from the early age of like 12 or 13 that I was really interested in automotive, and that still, for those of you who know me personally, that still followed me to this day. I'm still very intertwined in the automotive community. So I took a mechanic job in the military. I ended up being basically a diesel mechanic. It was called aerospace ground equipment maintenance, or an age mechanic, sorry. And I did that for 7 years. I stayed at Tinker Air Force Base, Oklahoma, in Midwest City for my entire career. I didn't PCS, but I did an 8-month tour overseas near Abu Dhabi, and that was an incredible experience. I had planned on doing 20 or 30 years, just like my dad did, but unfortunately I was medically retired. At the age of 25, I was diagnosed with both lupus and rheumatoid arthritis. I've had knee and back surgery. Was supposed to get my spine fused and my shoulders operated on, but it's just, there's a point of diminishing return where the sacrifices that come with the procedures are not really worth it, in my opinion, at least for the life that I live. And so I just decided it was better to go without, so I haven't had those procedures done. But anyways, upon having knee surgery beginning of 2018, I had a lot of downtime, a lot of time where I couldn't leave the house, I couldn't really walk, I couldn't do much of anything, and I had to find a new hobby, something, really easy, something light that could occupy my time so I wasn't just waiting to go back to work. That's miserable. So believe it or not, I dove into video games on my laptop, and that led to, my laptop is terrible, why aren't these games running right? Why is this such a bad experience? And so I dove into computer hardware and the technology behind that, and I really loved working on PCs and computers, and eventually I started building them for people locally. I started improving local people's PC performance. Like, they would take their setup to me and I would go through it and I'd help it run better or replace parts or all kinds of things. And I did that for about a year. I ended up building custom water-cooled PCs for people all over the world. I've shipped to Korea, I've shipped to Japan, I've shipped to a couple other places, and it was a really cool experience. But during that journey, I was trying to get content of the work that I was doing to help improve my business, and I ended up buying my first DSLR in 2018, like the very beginning of 2018. It was a Canon Rebel SL2, my very first dedicated camera body, and I was using that for photo and video. I had no idea what I was doing. I was brand new to this, and I just remember testing it. I bought a brand new 50mm f1.8, and there's a coffee mug just sitting on my counter, and my friend was trying to tell me about aperture and things like that, and so I took that photo of the coffee mug on my counter, and just the bokeh and the shallow depth of field, the insane amount of separation. I don't think I'd really noticed anything like that before. I definitely never taken a photo like that before, but I don't think it's ever anything that I paid attention to. And I remember seeing that photo on the back of the camera on the screen, and I was blown away by what the camera could do. I mean, it was incredible. It was beautiful to me. And I started slowly shifting my focus from PC building and hardware to media, to not so much videography. I was kind of just making it work at the beginning for the YouTube channel, but it was bad. It was very low production quality. But photography really is what grabbed my interest, and that's something that, you know, I've loved from day one. And that kind of brings us to today, you know, early November of 2024. And, you know, I've been known as Underline Photography for the last 6 years of my career. You know, I've been doing this professionally since 2019. And so making this change now to Image 88, there's a lot of reasoning behind that, and I'll get into that. But I did photography for a long time, and of course it was kind of tied into automotive work, because that underneath everything was really what I enjoyed. You know, I've always been in the street car scene and gone to drag racing, and I've had Evos, STIs, I've had Corvettes, I had an RS3, I had a ProCharge 300C. I've just owned a wide variety of really wild like performance cars, I guess you could call them, right? It's not like a P1 or anything, but, you know, like budget-friendly performance cars. And that's just kind of naturally where my work gravitated to, because that's just what I was already involved in. You know, I'm just capturing the environment that I've already existed in. And so then I became known as the car guy, right? Like everybody was like, hey, come shoot rollers in my car, you know, come do stills, whatever. And I still get that to this day, which is cool. You know, I love that. But I realized after a while that it's not a great way to make a living. You get burnt out, and it's a difficult industry to exist in, being that niche. And Oklahoma City does have a really healthy community of supercars and automotive enthusiasts, but that's just, I felt like it was shallow, and I wanted to do a little bit more with my work. And so, you know, doing photography for so long, that was mostly because I would kind of try and take a stab at video like once every 2 years. And I felt like every time I would go to shoot video, I would be going against the grain. It felt like I was forcing it, like it didn't cooperate. Things didn't work how I wanted it to. You know, my camera movements weren't smooth. I couldn't get the audio right. The colors didn't look right. And I was just really frustrated. And I feel like I was just shooting in the dark. You know, I was just guessing at what would fix the problem. And there were just a number of problems, and I was never happy with my work. And it was just a really unfulfilling, frustrating experience to shoot video for the longest time. So that's why I branded myself Underline Photography. I said I would never shoot video. I would never do it. And then one day, I just had a realization of like, photography is not the most effective way to make a living. It's not the most effective way to market something, to capture something. Video is really taking over the media industry, and I completely understand why. It's a way more effective way of storytelling. It really captivates people. You know, people can appreciate a good image, but the appreciation of the image is it's fleeting a lot faster than being pulled into a video and being held there for 5-10 minutes, an hour, however long that work might be. And I finally came to terms with the fact that I just need to figure it out. I need to just take some time off from fighting for every invoice with photo work and just figure out how I can make video work. And I ended up working with Josh Stassi, which, thank you, he's my first and only investor I've ever had. He threw me a chunk of money and said, hey, I need this amount of marketing work for my business. I'm going to pay you up front so you can get whatever gear you think you need. Take some time to kind of figure it out and learn it, and then let's knock out this work. And I did that. I shot some video work for Rain Athletic. Is it Rain Athletic and Cheer? Rain Athletic, at least. You know, a lot of people who have kids in the cheer programs will know what I'm talking about. He has an incredible facility and business down in Mustang. I mean, him and Paige are just absolutely killing it, and I am so incredibly thankful that you allowed me to have that foothold to get that equipment and start learning this. And so I want to say that was about 3 years ago, and since then I've overcome obstacle after obstacle, and I feel like I've really got it dialed in. I've got a good feel for how to create the video that I'm after. And since I started kind of producing content, and as I've gone through the pre-production all the way down to rendering, and then no longer have those friction points. I'm no longer frustrated with the workflow. Everything just works how it's supposed to. I absolutely love video storytelling. I love it. It's my favorite. Don't get me wrong. I will always do photo. I will always love photo, but video is just different. And once you can kind of figure out how to make it work for you, oh man, it's a fantastic experience being able to produce something and deliver it, be proud of your work, and then have other people not only praise you for your work, but when you can visibly see the metrics of success that your work has for these other businesses. It's my favorite thing. I feel like I'm chasing a high all the time. And that's why I love what I do, So it started off with just taking photos of people in cars and, doing some marketing work. But now I'm telling brand stories. I'm working on a documentary project right now, It's these way bigger things that I'm doing. It's not this surface level, taking pictures of people in cars. Like, I'm telling people stories. I'm sharing a company's ethos. I'm doing more important things now, and I'm incredibly proud of where I'm at and who I've become through this journey of pursuing media full time. And I'm super excited now to re-release my business under Image 88 because, to be perfectly honest, when I started Underline Photography, I paid some branding company on Fiverr. And I was like, hey, I'm starting a photography business. I need a brand name, like, help me out. And so they generated a whole thing. It wasn't good. I've never liked my old brand ever. But of course you have to fake it, right? Because if you don't have faith in your own company, then who's going to have faith in you? So Underline Photography has just always, I've hated that name. I think it's cheesy. And the whole point of that, the branding company was like, oh yeah, Underline, because your work stands out, it emphasizes something. And at the time I was like, okay, yeah, I could work with that. But like, ever since that, probably 3 to 6 months after I was established, I'm like, man, I should have put more thought into that. I don't like that. But now Image 88, I really love that. And it works for a number of reasons. The first one, obviously the word image. Yeah, I produce images, photo, video, it's all about images, right? But it's deeper than that because it's businesses using my work to curate their public image. That's what it's all about, is trying to put your brand in a certain light to try and put out the right impression to relate to your demographic and to your target audience. You want people to see you a certain way so that way you can connect with the people that you're trying to do business with. That's so incredibly important. If the people that you're after, that you think you'll have success with your business, that client base, that customer base, if they can't relate to you, you'll never have a chance. And so curating your public image and branding yourself a certain way is vital to the success of a business. And that's what I help with. I use my content to achieve just that. And so, yeah, your image, I help you build your image. As far as 88 goes, 2 of the same number, it's just always cool. But that's actually based on a statistic, I believe it was Forbes that I found it, where it said 88% of marketing teams found an overwhelmingly positive ROI using video content to market. 88% said it was overwhelmingly positive ROI. If that's not something that I can build my company on the back of, I don't know what is. It's just a no-brainer that video content, especially quality, high production value video content, is the future. It's the present. It's what people use to effectively deliver a message. And if you can get the lighting right, if you can get the audio right, if you can make it sound and look good, it hooks people. And it's a really important thing to have now. It's a lot of people say, oh yeah, the marketing budget is optional, that's the first thing to get cut. I think this is an invaluable investment that is vital to the company's success. Word of mouth only gets you so far, but if you really want to grow and be established, video and photo marketing content is just vital. So that is my story. I appreciate you guys sticking around and listening to me talk for however long it's been. I've just had a lot of people reach out and ask questions about like, hey man, how'd you make it full time? I was actually able to take some personal time. I do have VA compensation coming in, so I was able to kind of sit back and figure out what I wanted to do with my life, and I figured life was short, so I wanted to take a stab at this because I didn't want to spend my life wondering if I ever would have made it, if I ever would have found fulfillment. And I did. I took a chance, and it worked out. I'm still in business 6 years later, and I'm beyond thankful for everybody who supported me, every friend who's booked me for photos of their car, every business that's taken a chance on me to produce content and help market and curate their brand. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to work for you. Every single one of you people are the reason why I'm here today, and I wouldn't have had any of these opportunities without the support that I've had. You can't have a successful media company without support, and I just want to thank everyone. So here we go. Here's to a fresh start with Image 88, and I'm super excited to start shooting some content and giving you guys some really deep level stuff, not just surface level, car and portrait stuff. Like, really dig into some stories and really produce something with some value that evokes emotion and gives you something of substance. That's really what I'm looking forward to. So thank you guys, and be sure to check out the website. Be sure to check out all the new content that I'm releasing, and thanks again.